The chilling command, captured on a teenager's phone, sparked a nationwide manhunt that still haunts investigators today. On February 13th, 2017, in a small town of Delphi, Indiana, two best friends vanished during an afternoon walk near an abandoned railroad bridge. 14-year-old Libby and 13-year-old Abby never returned home. When searchers found their bodies the next day, the quiet community was shattered by the grim reality of a double homicide. But Libby had left them crucial evidence, a grainy video of a man approaching them, paired with those terrifying words. This is a story of Delphi's darkest mystery. It all began as an ordinary holiday Monday. With no school for President's Day, Libby and Abby were dropped off near the Monon High Bridge trails around 1:30 p.m. The unreasonably warm February weather made it perfect for a short hike. Their destination was the Monon High Bridge, a decaying railroad trestle stretching 850 feet long and towering 60 feet above Deer Creek. The structure was notoriously dangerous, with rotting wood, rusted rails, and gaps where railroad ties had fallen away. As they explored, Libby documented their adventure on her phone, and at precisely 2:07 p.m., she posted a Snapchat video showing Abby walking along the tracks. That timestamp became the last confirmed moment the girls were seen alive. Their plan was straightforward: cross the bridge, explore briefly, and meet their ride at 3:15 p.m. But when the pickup time arrived, Abby and Libby were nowhere to be found. Concerned family members rushed to the trails, calling their names as they scanned the deserted landscape. Only the creaking bridge and silent woods answered back. By 5:30 p.m., with daylight fading and temperatures dropping, the Carroll County Sheriff's Department officially declared the girls missing. What followed was a massive, round-the-clock search operation. Police officers combined the thick underbrush along Deer Creek, while volunteers formed human chains to sweep the fields. K-9 units strained at their leashes, sniffing for any trace of the teenagers. Helicopters thundered overhead, their searchlights cutting through the gathering darkness. And as the night fell, the desperate hunt grew even more urgent. Flashlights bobbed like fireflies in the woods, and worried neighbors handed out thermoses of coffee to exhausted searchers. The entire town of Delphi held its breath, praying for a miracle. But with every passing hour, the unspoken fear grew heavier. Something terrible had happened on those trails. The search continued through the frigid night, volunteers pushing past exhaustion as temperatures plunged below freezing. Hope clung to the darkness that the girls were lost, injured, but alive. That fragile hope shattered at noon on February 14th. Searchers discovered Abby's and Libby's body in a wooded area near Deer Creek, roughly half a mile downstream from the Monon High Bridge. They were found on steep, rugged terrain, land partially owned by a local resident. The idyllic hiking spot was now a homicide scene. News spread through Delphi like a physical blow. Flowers piled up at the trailhead as the community grappled with an unthinkable truth. Someone had murdered 2 children on their own trails. The question burned through every conversation, every news report, every prayer vigil. Who could have done this? And why? Amid the grief, investigators revealed a critical breakthrough: Libby's phone. In a moment of astonishing bravery, she had activated her video recorder as danger approached. The footage was brief and grainy, just 43 seconds long, but it showed a man in blue jeans, a blue jacket, and possibly a hoodie walking purposefully across the bridge towards the girls. His face remained obscured, but his build appeared stocky. The police released this audio clip and a single blurred frame from the video to the public, pleading for help to identify Bridge Guy. The evidence ignited a firestorm. Tips flooded the Delphi tip line, over 50,000 in the first month alone. Yet, confusion soon followed. In July 2017, police released a sketch of a clean-shaven young suspect. Then, in April 2019, they abruptly replaced it with a dramatically different sketch, an older man with a hat and heavy brow. Officials claimed both sketches depicted the same person, but represented different investigative faces. The mixed messages frustrated the public and fueled wild speculations. Names like Keegan Kline, creator of the Anthony shots, catfishing persona who had communicated with Libby, and even local church leaders circulated online. But years passed with no arrests. Bridge Guy seemed to vanish into thin air. For nearly 3 years after the second sketch release, the investigation went publicly silent. No arrests, no named suspects, only agonizing uncertainty. Unknown to the public, a local man named Richard Allen was living quietly in the community. A 50-year-old CVS pharmacy technician, married with no criminal history. He'd been interviewed by the police early in the investigation, but wasn't considered a priority. Meanwhile, critical evidence sat preserved but unconnected, a gun found near the girls' bodies. Years have passed, and then in 2021, investigators re-examined old tips. They noticed Allen had admitted being on the trails that afternoon. When they quietly obtained his pistol, ballistics testing allegedly matched the round at the scene. The break was so explosive, the probable cause affidavit was immediately sealed. On October 26, 2022, police knocked on Richard Allen's Delphi's home. They arrested a 50-year-old CVS technician without incident, charging him with 2 counts of murder. The community reeled. How could this unassuming neighbor, who had mingled at local bars and attended his wife's restaurant gatherings, evade capture for nearly 6 years? At his initial hearing, prosecutors revealed Allen had placed himself on the trails during the murders and described clothing matching Bridge Guys. Allen's original attorneys, Bradley Rossi and Andrew Baldwin, launched an explosive defense. In a June 2003 filing, they claimed the killings displayed Odinist cult signatures, rune symbols, and ritualistic staging. They alleged police ignored the evidence, pointing to other suspects, a prison informant's confession, an inmate's bloody jacket, and a witness who saw a man in pagan robes near the crime scene. Prosecutors called the theory defamatory, insisting Allen acted alone. Then came the bombshell. In October 2023, Baldwin was sanctioned after crime scene photos leaked from his office to online slots. Within weeks, both attorneys withdrew under pressure. Allen got appointed a new defense counsel, and he himself claimed horrific conditions in prison, kept naked in a cell, covered in lice, and forced to sleep on concrete floor. Prison officials countered he was held in protective segregation after threatening self-harm. And meanwhile, prosecutors fought to keep key documents secret, arguing public release would jeopardize witnesses and an investigation into other actors. Two vibrant girls whose lives ended in terror. Abby Williams, remembered for her artistic spirit and gentle nature. Libby German, whose quick thinking preserved critical evidence with her phone. The Monon High Bridge now stands closed, a silent witness to unanswered questions. Was Richard Allen truly alone on that bridge? What did those sealed documents hide? And will Delphi ever find peace?